This is going to be the initial mapping phase for the Eufy X8. When you first set it up, it has to charge fully, and then you come to the app and you tell it to go out and start mapping. So you may have heard that that said start cleaning. So it's going to start on its cycle out. It is advisable that you pick up everything on its first run out that might get in its way. So right now, the LiDAR sensor up top there is figuring out where it is. And just like with my other LiDAR-based vacuum cleaners, kind of starts under there and then will work its way out. We'll get an idea a little bit more here as it's creating its map. So similarly to my other one, it's gonna kind of scoot all the corners first to figure out where things are. Oh, it's coming right this way, okay. We're gonna get out of its way. All right, that was a direct bump because the cat scratching pole there is outside the LiDAR's field of view. LiDAR is only gonna be good at a specific height. Anything that happens to be below that will not get picked up, which is also why it's recommended that you pick up any cables, or in my case, cat toys or computers, so that while it's setting up and mapping, that stuff doesn't get in its way. And I will say that the side brush there is spinning at a pretty good clip. I've had other ones that kind of go a little slow. So we'll see if that actually flings some stuff around. I kind of left the place as messy as possible between my last vacuuming, just to see how this does. And once we get into the kitchen, I'll be able to tell if it actually kind of like flings things around a little more. Here we have it. Kind of skirting into my dining area after it pretty much did straight up and down cleaning for the living room. So I'm hoping that what it's going to do now is it's going to make its way along the edge, and then also realize that there's a kitchen that it has to go into, because it did not jump to the hallway up to the kitchen when it first started. So we're just going to come around and watch and see as my lighting gets horrible. All right, it's a little, oh wait, it actually can get under there. Even with the LiDAR, that's good. Let's see if it'll figure out how to get out of there. All right, there it comes. All right, and that is a cattail and the leading edge into the kitchen area. So let's see if it figures out. That is horribly, horribly lit. There we go. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Passing the threshold into the kitchen. So it's figuring out that there's stuff in here that it needs to clean. And I left things as messy as possible to see if it would knock stuff around. All right, looks like it's going to try and come back out into the dining. I'm going to try and stand in the way of the sunlight. All right, it's kind of hanging all along the edge, so it's mapping out the dining. Actually going to see how it does around these chairs. As it's mapping for the first time. See how close it gets without actually bumping. And it's giving a larger berth to that large leg because it can kind of see that. There we go, right over there. So it's a little too big to get between my particular chair legs, but it does look like it gets fairly close. Made its way into the kitchen. The horrible lighting, but is what it is. All right, so it's a little clumsy because it thinks it can make it under there, but the LiDAR sensor actually is preventing it from moving underneath. So it's just going to kind of bump along as it figures things out and kind of cover up the sun there so my auto thing goes. There we go. So around here, it is low enough to get under the cabinetry since the LiDAR sensor is positioned in the center. And there you might have seen it kind of flick forward some debris that was here. Alright. There you can see. If you have a cat that's already used to them, they'll just kind of give them a wide berth. But there you go. It's going to finish mapping things out because this is the section of my house with the horrible wallpaper that it did not get originally. So LiDAR is figuring out where it needs to go. That's a pathway into the living room. So hopefully that actually should have completed the map. No issues with the transition. And here you can see it's making straight lines as it should. I'll be very curious to see what it does after the initial mapping phase, because it's going straight up and down this way for this little segment of the living room. However, over here, it went this way. All right, this should be the end of its initial mapping phase. Everything should be done, so it should be thinking. All right, so that's it returning to the charger. I may have turned the volume down on the voice controls a little too low because I did not hear an audio cue saying that it was going back to the charging station. All right, let's see how well this does here. Can it do it on the first shot? It did say charging. So first shot. All right, so this is the container after its initial mapping and cleaning. It was not on turbo mode, so whatever's in here is actually picked up on the lowest setting. So let's see how it did. Right there, that's a lot of cat hair right there. And like I said, this was the lowest setting. That dust pile is actually fairly compact compared to other ones, which is supposed to be the other key feature of the X8 is the twin turbo that kind of smushes everything together. So again, this was about a week's worth of cat hair, lowest setting,